All right, we're going to get started. Welcome everyone to today's webinar on smart money moves for today's economy. My name is Kevin Ralph and I'm one of the financial advisors over at Secure Planning Group. Today we're going to talk about something that affects every financial plan, how you manage your day-to-day cash flow, whether markets are up or down. The one thing that we can't control is how we manage our money. This is not about cutting everything out of life, but it's more about budgeting that often gets framed as a restriction. But in reality, it's about making intentional decisions so your money supports the life you want. Today, we'll learn how to identify hidden spending leaks that quietly drain your finances. We'll learn a simple framework for balancing spending, saving, and investing. And we'll learn how to build financial resilience with emergency savings. Smart ways to adjust your financial plan in today's economic environment as well. So this is not about cutting everything out of life, but budgeting often gets framed as a restriction. So in reality, it's more about making intentional decisions that money supports the life you want. You know, this coincides with inflation and rising costs, higher interest rates, market uncertainty, and competing financial priorities. Prices may change, but your financial goals still stay the same. You know, obviously, inflation requires adjusting spending habits. You know, you should really be looking at reviewing your finances quarterly. A lot of people, I feel like, just wait to have an annual review, but quarterly would definitely help accomplish the goals more frequently. And just because your financial goals don't change, the prices still do. So we got to make sure that we're adjusting accordingly. So cash flow. When you understand how money moves in and out of your household, you gain the ability to make informed decisions, adapt to changing economic conditions, and stay on track toward long-term financial goals. Every financial plan starts with cash flow. You can't build wealth if you do not have control over your cash flow. Investments do get a lot of attention, but the truth is your investment strategy only works if your cash flow is there to support it. Two people with identical salaries can end up with very different financial outcomes depending on their spending habits. So what are some of the hidden spending problems? So subscriptions, right? So a lot of people will sign up, whether it's Apple Pay or they'll sign up for whatever the monthly subscription might be, and then they don't pay attention to, you know, if they stop using that app over time, the subscription is still coming out of their monthly cash flow. Spending habits do evolve over time. For example, you know, multiple streaming device subscriptions, impulse spending. So small expenses really feel significant in the moment, but over time they can quietly erode your ability to save and invest. So try a 30-day spending audit and just take a look at your month to month and just see where you might be able to cut back on some of the convenience spending, the automatic renewals and subscriptions. Another common spending problem that we see is lifestyle creep. So you might get year-to-year increases with your pay, or you might get a big bonus or salary, and then all of a sudden, rather than saving first, you just let your lifestyle creep over and you start spending more money. So as you make more money over time, you should really be cutting back on what your month-to-month spending is. The 50-30-20 rule. So one of the key things that you should always look to do first is building the emergency funds, right? And typically we suggest that's 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. If you're a business owner, we definitely recommend more towards six months, or if you're self-employed, the 6 months is general rule of thumb there. But what the 50-30-20 rule is, 50% of your spending is on needs, and then your 30% is on your wants, and then 20% on savings and debt. So this isn't a rigid rule. It's more of a guideline that helps create balance. For emergency funds, as I said, you know, 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. It's your safety net against inflation, rising interest rate, and unexpected costs. And it helps protect against unexpected events, prevent selling investments, reduce financial stress. So that's one of the biggest things is if you're building up an investment portfolio, you want to make sure that you have these emergency funds set aside, because you don't want to be having to liquidate things when the market might be going through volatile times like we've had so far, you know, year to date. And of course, you know, if the market does drop and you need cash, having the emergency fund prevents from selling those investments when the market might be down. All right, so managing debt effectively. You know, good debt versus bad debt. So not that any debt is per se good, but some debt is tax deductible. You know, this could be student loan debt. This could be mortgages. If you're using credit cards, do whatever you can to make sure that they're paid off every single month. And not only that, make sure you're paying attention to what the interest rates are. If you have accumulated some credit card debt, look into maybe there's some 0% transfer opportunities that are out there, or other ways just to pay down these credit cards at lower rates. Home equity line of credit to consolidate debt, things like that would help just reduce the interest rates. Different repayment strategies. So the snowball strategy is where you would pick the debt with the lowest balance, pay that off first, and then whatever your payment is, apply that towards the next debt with the lowest balance. And this is snowballing the debt and tackling things a lot quicker. There's also the avalanche strategy, which is where you attack the debts with the highest interest rate first. And then kind of the same thing, you attack the debt with the 20% interest, and then after you pay that off, take that payment and go after the one with the 15% interest. Either way, it's just making sure you have a plan to tackle this debt is the most important thing. Credit score management. So we come across people that don't even know what their credit score is. So make sure that you do know what your credit score is. And if you don't, make sure you look it up. A lot of the different credit card companies out there, if you log into their website, they will show you what your credit score is. So take a look there first. And then when you're not using your credit, it is smart to freeze your credit. So just a general good strategy that you have out there is if you can freeze your credit, do it. And especially do this when you're not using your credit. Another good practice is with all the fraud and the scams in the world, consider purchasing fraud protection just as a way to make sure that you keep that credit score intact to the best of your ability. 3 smart money moves. So make sure you know where your money's going. Follow a balanced framework and build financial resilience. So small financial habits practiced consistently can lead to extraordinary outcomes over time. Most people don't even know how much money they spend on a monthly basis or what exactly their money is being spent on. So create a budget and track your spending month to month. You can do this by hand. I find that to be the most effective way so you can kind of feel it live. Or there are many programs out there that you can link your bank accounts and credit cards to that will automatically track your spending and categorize it for you. If you work with us, we love to use the eMoney tool. That's a tool that you can link all your credit cards and your bank accounts to, and it'll customize your spending and show you exactly what you're spending your money on month to month first. Another really important thing is pay yourself first, right? So set your monthly savings on autopilot. As soon as that paycheck hits your bank account, set aside some money automatically so that way you're not just spending everything at the end of the day. And treat your savings like an expense every single month, right? So literally build into your budget what you want to be saving or investing in, and treat that like an expense that you've got to pay every single month. Set your goals every single year to automatically increase your savings. So a lot of 401ks, if you log in your 401k account, you can set up on autopilot every single year on your anniversary. It's going to automatically increase your savings by 1%, 2%, whatever you choose to do. Again, going back to when you get that 3% raise every single year, you should be increasing your 401k automatically. And this isn't just 401ks. You can do this with, if you're trying to increase your savings account, you can set it up inside the systems to say, okay, on the anniversary, I'm going to increase my savings by $100 every single month. Any little bit helps, but make sure that you're revisiting this every single year and try to build a plan to increase your savings. Plan well, build resilience. So the most important thing is to have a plan. The old adage, not having a plan is planning to fail. So make sure you have a financial plan. Start with setting your goals and what's most important to you. Is it retirement? Is it college education for your kids? Is it getting out of debt? Is it a vacation home, a legacy? So start with what your goals are, prioritize them, and start building a plan around it. One easy step to make first is take a look at what your take-home pay is every single month. Okay. From there, create a budget of what is your negotiable spending and your non-negotiable spending. Whatever is your non-negotiable spending, that's what you got to have, or try to work towards having that 3 to 6 months of emergency fund set aside. So after you know what your negotiable spending is and your non-negotiable spending is, take a look at what's left over. What spending can you cut back on as well? Again, going back to that monthly budget, and you see those subscriptions and everything else, you might be able to get rid of some of those subscriptions. You might have just paid off a car loan or something else. Rather than that money being freed up and you just spending it, set that money aside and start putting that in your savings account or in an investment account. So you pay off that $400 car loan, take that $400 right away and start putting that aside. Again, going back to creating the 3 to 6 months of emergency spending, that should be in cash or savings account at all times. Okay, that way you're, again, going back to, you should not be liquidating your investments when you need money, especially when the market's volatile. If you have that safety net, that's set aside to help out with that. After the 3 to 6 months, whatever's left over above, start investing that. You know, you have the ability, if you have a longer timeline, that if we can invest the money over time, you should be earning higher interest rates than what's in a savings account. So after you have that savings set aside, start making your money work more for you and start investing that money. Whatever your primary goals are, so you can earn that higher interest over time, outpace inflation. But you know, again, you also have that safety net that, you know, is there if a lump sum is required. And then also, again, going back to making sure you revisit your goals and your financial plan at a minimum of once a year. Again, we recommend quarterly, but at a minimum of once a year to make sure you're reevaluating things over time. What tools and resources are out there? There's budget tips. There's a budget tips for all ages ebook. You know, you can check out our blogs, podcasts, other financial software podcasts and blogs that are out there. Contact a financial advisor. Doesn't matter what your situation is, a financial advisor can help develop a plan for you and help you, you know, work towards these goals that you have coming up. And that is it for today. I appreciate everybody that joined us. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out. And one of the financial advisors at Secure Planning Group would love to take care of you. Thank you.